Hey everyone, welcome to a fun night of computer glitches, and Tom stuck it to us. So we are trying to go with the split screen to have double video, and we're getting there. We're figuring it out, but there's going to be some bugs tonight. But the good news is we got James Sweasy here with us, who's going to answer a lot of questions I have. So I'm going to let this thing, I'm going to fade out with there and just jump right in. James, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. We'll have to check with Carrie. I have my phone open and have Facebook open.
All right. And well, I'm going to go ahead and get us started, and we'll hopefully with chat, some people can, Kat, Joel, everyone just kind of throw in chat to make sure you guys can hear us, because we're the blind leading. Well, I'm trying to lead. I'm failing here. So anyways, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sober Talk. You're here because you want to get sober. You need to get sober, or perhaps you're just sober curious. Whatever the reason, we're glad you're here. How do you know if you have a drug or alcohol problem? Simple. If it causes problems, I've quit, restarted, and quit and repeated more times than I can count, but hopefully with the help of this group, that'll be my last try. So this is Sober Talk is a sobriety support group. We're not doctors or trained medical people, yet we do have a professional with us tonight. So you can listen to him. Just don't listen to myself or Tom. But as we're going to discuss, quitting alcohol can be very dangerous. If it's something you want to do, I think you need to listen to James tonight to get us all on the right page, so we don't make some mistakes and we get it done the right way. So I am going to, you guys have met James. He's been on several times co-hosting with Tom. He owns a couple facilities, but I'm going to let him kind of give James just the theme of tonight, the things I wanted to cover. I want to hear the facilities, how you got started with it, what you do. But the questions I had were, if someone has a sibling, a spouse, a family member, or a close friend that needs to get sober, and they are not sure how to approach them. That's obviously a delicate situation. I know you're a trained interventionist. What your recommendations are? I know when I hear the word intervention, I think of the show, which I love watching, but I guarantee, James, if I rounded the corner and saw a bunch of cars out in front of my house, I'd hit the gas instead of the brake, and I would be gone. And I'm sure start looking at the local pubs, because that's where you'd find me. So I would run from that. But then also the other part I wanted to, James, to enlighten us on is someone that, like me, that knew I had to go into rehab. I needed the professional help. I was scared to death. I saw guys in white coats coming out and grabbing me and wrapping me up in straitjackets and locking me in the padded room. I know that's not the case, but if someone, there's people out there that might know that they need that and want to do it, but they're scared to death to make that call. So kind of my goal was, what can they expect? What does happen? Will they feel safe? Will they feel in control of the situation? So that's kind of the theme, but I would like to, for people that don't know you, introduce yourself to us and take it away.
Sure. Thank you very much, Jeff. I appreciate it. And Carrie, for all the chaos that we had to deal with to get this live up and running. So my name is James Sweasy. I'm a nationally certified interventionist. Jeff, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
We're good. All right. So I'm a nationally certified interventionist. I'm also 8 years clean, sober, whatever you want to call it, myself, since January 11th of 2013. If anybody's counting, that was 8 years last week. So Monday, something, or I don't know, 10 days ago, whenever that was. So yeah, you hit on a couple of really good points there. So it's important to know, you said the lab coats, the doctors, things of that nature. Here's what's interesting about dealing with me and others like myself is I can look at someone, a doctor or someone that went through college, and God bless them, they went through college to work with our community, right? I can look at them and say, you don't understand me. You've never been addicted to Suboxone or meth, or you've never been to jail for a DUI, so you don't know what I'm talking about. That's very easy for me to do. but you can't pull that BS on me, right? So as I'm working as an interventionist or working at my center, you can't look at me and say, you don't understand me. I kind of take that out of the equation. Now to your point, thank you, Ted Watson, for saying you can hear us both. I see you guys. Welcome.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Welcome, Joel. Welcome, Adriana. I think it says Jason, Beth. Hello. You were talking about if someone has a loved one that is struggling, that doesn't, I believe you said, doesn't want to go get help. How did they get them in? What do they do? Right. So as an interventionist, I'm looking for leverage at all times, Jeff. What I mean by that is whether it's your husband, your wife, your kid, whatever that looks like, I will use, this is an easy one. So I'll use a child, for example. I work with a lot of people that have a 19, 20, 25, sometimes 35, 40, whatever. Their child lives in their house, in their basement or in a room, something of that nature. And they shoot heroin, drink themselves to death, smoke meth, all that in the person's house, in their parents' house. And the parents go to them and say, hey, we think you have a problem. We want you to go to rehab, and a fight starts, right? And eventually a lot of people, they get sick of that fighting. I'm sure a lot of people on here can relate to that. They get sick of it. Every time I go to him or her and say, we think you need help, a fight ensues, and then the whole family goes nuts. So we just stop. We go to bed. We let our kid or whomever go to the basement. They go to their room, and then we start again the next day. All right. That's hardcore enabling is what you're describing, or what I'm describing right there. So people enable because it makes them feel better, not because it's better for the addict. You see, if I go to my son or my daughter and say, I think you need rehab, and a fight ensues and I give up, I don't like that conflict anymore. People enable because they don't want to argue, fight, or engage in the conflict that surrounds going to treatment. So as an interventionist, what I'm doing, and you mentioned it yourself, you saw it on the show Intervention, right? I'm looking for leverage. And I'll give you, you know what I mean by that, Jeff? Leverage on a person.
I'm assuming ways of whether it's a loved one or
a friend, anything. Yeah. Always looking for leverage, right? So what I'm getting at is think about it. If you have someone living in your basement that's getting high, right? I'll go back to the example of a family I was working with some time ago with a 19-year-old son in the basement, and the son's shooting heroin in the basement. And they say, well, every time we ask him to go to rehab, he just won't go, and he walks back in there and goes back to bed and ignores us. And then they live with that. I'm looking for leverage, right? Usually in this situation, the parents are paying for the car. They're paying for the cell phone. It's their house. They buy the food and they pay the heating and electric bill, right? So in an interventionist, I'm going to start taking those things away. Good cop, bad cop kind of scenario. You said yourself, if you rounded the corner and there were a bunch of people parked at your house, you would take off, right? I'm never going to do an intervention at your house. I don't know if you have a gun, a knife under your bed, or whatever. I'm going to catch you off guard. We're going to invite you to dinner, lunch, or something at a hotel where we have a private room. And we're going to walk in there and it's going to be a surprise.
That makes good sense.
Right. So yeah, we got to be very careful about things. I don't know what you have in your room. So as an interventionist myself, I'm not going to put myself in danger to go through this. So I want a family member to trick you out, get you in somewhere. And then we have this thing called the trash bag in the suitcase. I'll explain to you how that works. Let's say an addict pulls into the hotel or wherever we're going to do the intervention. They get out of their car, they walk into the room, and they're caught off guard a little bit, right? While that's happening, dad or brother, somebody is outside taking the battery out of their car. Okay. Removing the battery, flattening a tire, stealing the keys, whatever you have to do. Because usually it's not the addict's car, right? I'm talking about the 19-year-old in this situation. Obviously other situations are different. So we're going to take the battery out of the car. They come in and they sit down, and one of the parents, I will have them with their laptop out with Verizon.com or whoever. That wasn't an ad for Verizon, by the way. I'm just saying Verizon or AT&T, whomever is their cell phone provider, with their kid's phone line pulled up right there with the disconnect button showing perfectly. And they come in, they sit down. And have you ever noticed on intervention, Jeff, you go around the room and everybody reads a letter?
Yep.
Okay. So what happens? They read the happy letter first, and they go all the way around the room. They say, Jeff, I love you. I want you to get this help. I remember when you were a solid guy. And You cared about your family and you didn't do this to yourself. Will you please take this help today? And they say, nope, I'm not going. Then they go to the next family member and the next one, and they all read the positive letter. All right. Please go get this help today. And if they keep saying no, by the time we finish everybody in the room, then they pull out a different letter. This letter is turning the heat up a little bit. And they pull it out and they say, your addiction has affected this family in the following ways. You rob from us, you steal from us, you make us miserable, and you will not do it in my house another day. If you don't accept this help today, we're taking your car, we're cutting your cell phone off, and you will not live in our house another day. You remember that, like on intervention where they turn the heat up? Okay. Yep. Then in many cases, what happens? Addict's going to jump up and say, screw you guys, I'm out of here. They walk outside to realize their car doesn't work. Or when they reach down to grab their phone to call one of their buddies to come get them, they realize their phone doesn't work, where we just cut it off from the other room. And in the room, this is not every scenario goes that smoothly, but in the room, we will have a trash bag sitting by the door and a suitcase. The suitcase has brand new shirts, socks, deodorant, toothpaste, things like that. And there's an empty trash bag. And you tell them, you can act like a grown man right now and put your things in that nice suitcase and you're going to treatment. Or you can take the trash bag and go clean all of your crap out of our house, and we're dropping you off at a homeless shelter or at a bridge. And you make them choose in that moment. The whole room goes silent while they choose. That's kind of how an intervention works.
When you have a couple, I love what you're doing, because every question I had, you took the power away from me, which I'm sure is exactly what you're looking to do in a real intervention.
Correct.
But for someone, a halfway house, not everyone has, a cash reserve to, I see the commercials for the place where they're putting the coals on your back and the rehab facilities that, riding zip lines and all that kind of stuff. Sure. Halfway houses, I know, are pretty much free, but what about someone that can't afford for their loved one? What are the options, I guess?
So there's a number of ways we go about this. And you raise a good point. Before you perform any kind of intervention or have me walk you through one on the phone, the first thing we do is identify placement. That is actually, we went straight to the intervention. Identify placement is first, right? And what that basically means is if and when the person says, yes, I'll go accept this help today, where are we going to send them, right? And a lot of people make this mistake. They do, see, it's the placement is first, then the approach, and then the close, right? So most people jump to the approach without having a close or placement in place. So they jump straight to the approach. They run up, I want you to go to rehab. I need you to do this, this, and that, the other. And if the person says yes, then they're stuck with this dilemma. Now, what do we do with them? And it could take a couple of days to figure that out. What happens in that couple of days, Jeff? You lose them. Right. Like, you're like, okay, I'm going back to bed.
Second thoughts always.
Sure. You got to be ready in that moment. So the way we do that, for example, my network, Impact Wellness Network, you mentioned that I own and operate with partners, but I own and operate drug and alcohol addiction treatment. We have locations in Kentucky, Indiana, and Ohio. And these are private treatment centers. This is, we try to catch people before they need the homeless shelter, before they lose their house, their car, their job, things of that nature. These are private centers. So there are several different levels in which centers exist. A private center, a Medicaid center, a Medicare center, and then there are some free places, and then halfway houses, as you mentioned. Whenever, at least I can tell you about Kentucky here, we have Medicaid's different in every state. But in Kentucky, we have things called connectors and presumptive care. So when you want to get someone into a treatment that has no insurance, no money, you can sign, if they're using actively, you can sign them up for Medicaid that day. A center can, a Medicaid center, and get them approved and go ahead and take them that day.
Is there like an emergency of, hey, I got to get someone in within 24 hours or I'm going to lose them? They're pretty good about getting that processed.
Yes, but I can't speak for every state. Here we are in Kentucky. We're very lucky. We have good people in place that can do that kind of thing. One of the problems right now is that facilities are overran. So even if you have the private state Medicaid, you might call a place, and here's where the hard work comes in. At least it's not that hard, but to an addict, it's hard. Somebody that's actively using, you might have to call every hour and wait for somebody to walk out of the building, and they say, okay, I have a bed now.
That was a question I had, because I talked to someone that said we should have a bed in 3 days. Well, that scares the heck out of me, because the person that at a weak moment, I convinced them to take this helping hand. Now they got a couple days that I might let them slip out of my fingers and go hang with their drug or alcohol using buddies that, oh man, you don't want to do that. My nephew went through that and he blah, blah, and talk them out of it. So it's almost, but yeah, I've heard those horror stories about, hopefully we'll have a better, and when I was in rehab for a week, the person leaving passed a person coming in the hallway. The bed, the chair or the bed did not cool down, get cool. It stayed warm. There was not, that door was going.
And that's a tough thing that we deal with nationwide. One thing you can do, so what you were just describing was a situation where you said you got somebody to tap out in this moment of need, right? And then you didn't see placement didn't come first, right? Now, that's not always somebody's mistake. You never know when somebody's going to walk up and say, I'm done, please help me. And then you try to place them and it takes a few days, right? You can lose them. But a lot of times when people are going straight at their relatives, their friends or whatever, you need to go get help. You need to go get help. If they can't cash pay or they don't have insurance for it, then they find themselves in that dilemma. Where do I send this person now? So every state's a little different, but here we have Casey's Law. You can court order people to go to treatment. Casey's Law exists in Ohio and I think Indiana also. And then in Florida, they have the Marchman Act. There's several different things where you can have people court ordered to treatment. But whenever you court order someone to treatment, you are responsible for providing that treatment. Fortunately, there's more and more options coming available right now. And if you know someone that's struggling or you're struggling yourself, so Tom calls it and Jeff calls it sober curious, right? If you're curious about it, let's say you don't have insurance or money, right? You need to go to healthcare.gov, healthcare.gov, and start signing up for Medicaid right now. Go to the portal, get signed up for Medicaid, and then you reach out to us over here at Sober Talk or something like that, and we'll put you in contact with people in your state. It's important to note, Medicaid does not cross state lines.
There's some people, James, are asking, Stephen said he'd love to talk to you. I want to make sure, Carrie, I know you're on. I want to, whatever contact numbers, James, you suggest that we can put up, national, because not everyone's from Kentucky or Ohio where I am, but are there national numbers that people can call? Can we get those up on the screen? Are there 1-800 numbers? Where people that, and I'd like to have it, that we put this on the Sober Talk group page as well. So those resources are there. So it's not just, if someone wants to come back tomorrow and see it, we're numbers of those resources so that they can go to find who to talk to. I just want to make sure we're getting that up for everyone as well.
Yeah, sure. Let me pull the number real quick. I should know this by heart, but somebody can put this on there if you want to. It's area code 502-443-9950. 502-443-9950. That's my office number. They would be open for about the next 2 hours. We run 2 shifts right now, doing the best we can. And you can call over there. If you're in another state and you have Medicaid or something right now, you can call over there and we will give you the phone number or give you resources in your state to the best of our ability. Obviously, I'm live right now, so I can't take your call. And I see Steve is in the comments. He says, I would love to talk to you. Steve says he's got employee insurance. That is, if you're insured through your employer or something of that nature, what that does, you're one of the lucky ones, right? You could potentially come to one of my centers. That's just the way it is, that we have doctors, psychiatrists, MDs, massage therapy, licensed clinical social workers with masters. These people cost a lot of money. So it does cost to run a facility of that nature. So what I would say is, for Stephen, Lee, Russell, if you want, you can send a message over to, how do you all collect the numbers right now? Is that sobertalklive@gmail.com?
Yeah, that's probably the best. And Carrie can put that up. We'll make sure that on the Sober Talk group page, that those things are up there. I need to make sure of that myself. I know Tom does, but I'm a little new to it to find where those resources are. But we need to make sure, and Carrie, I know you're listening, that we have easy access to that on the site.
Yeah, I just put a message in there.
That email for Sober Talk as well, Carrie, up on the chat. That'd be great. Or anyone else, some of the long-termers here know that probably as well. If you can throw that in the chat, so people that are newer can have that resource.
Sure. And what it is we do our best to place people to the best of our ability. Sometimes people don't like the answers we have for them. I mean, look, and Jeff, sometimes it's a tragic thing. Sometimes somebody calls you and says, look, I'm a single mom, 3 kids. I have to work. They won't let me off. What am I going to do with my kids and this and that while I go to treatment? I get it. We want to plug those people into some type of telehealth or something like that, or even just things like Sober Talk where they can call the show and have somebody to talk to. And sometimes like the best thing you got is tell people like, you need to walk into an AA meeting or something like that and throw your hands up and say, somebody please help me, help guide me. I need a sponsor, you know, things of that nature.
As far as the employer, I went through the same thing of, I don't want to tell my employer, hey, I'm going into rehab. But looking back, and I've got just about a year now, they were the ones that I still talk to about it. My immediate boss, HR, they said they were thrilled with that. Because they said, you're a good employee. We don't want to have to train a new employee and bring them all the way up through the learning curve. We know what you can do. We know that you got a problem. We want you to we'd rather you fix the problem so you can come back and be, productive again, happy again, and an asset to the team. So I think the time involved in getting someone help that, for rehab, and I know there's obviously varied stints of time, but that's a drop in the bucket versus having to completely bring someone, up to speed, retrain, rehire, go through all that. I think people are much more nervous about an employer. You lose her, you're out of here, you're fired. That's not the case. I think that, that's what I thought was going to happen for sure. And it was completely opposite. What they don't want is to get a phone call. Hey, your guy, Jeff, just wrecked one of your company vehicles because he was drinking on the job.
Sure.
That's not the ending. That's going to result in a different ending than we want you to get help.
What you're describing is the difference between asking for help and getting caught. There's two totally different things going on right there. And I deal with this a lot. I've got some people that work in very high places, right? Some people, I can't disclose anybody's name, obviously. Let me tell you, we've treated.
It's Tom Mabe.
Yeah, Tom Mabe. That's daily though. That's a daily phone call where we talk about Tom's alcoholism. But no, we've treated private sports figures or professional sports figures, what I'm trying to say, from major league teams. We've treated lawyers. We've treated doctors. So if you're a mechanic or you're just living in your mom's basement or anything right now, it's not a moral issue. There's not something particularly wrong with you. This can strike anybody. Lawyers, doctors, judges, politicians, priests, name it. Struggle with drug and alcohol addiction. There's no shame in asking for help. And what I have noticed too, I've worked with some people at big companies like FedEx, UPS. There's employee programs in place where you can take off work to go get help. Addiction is a disease. It's classified as a disease. And you have to start thinking about it like this. If you were in an auto accident tomorrow and broke your femur, what would your work say? Like, go get better. We wish you well. We'll see you when you get back, right? Not everybody's like that, but it is changing. That's what I'm starting to see now. A lot of these people that are tenured employees have worked at a company for 10 or 15 years or even a year, and they walk up to their boss and say, hey man, I need your help. And the boss, supervisor's like, what's up, man? Say, I can't stop drinking, or I found myself hooked on these pills and I can't get off of them. I need to go to a detox. And all the time, man, more often than not.
Hey, James, a little bit of an offshoot question, but what about the person that is going to be looking for a new job in the spring, and I don't want to go into rehab because I don't want on my record when they do a background check saying, hey, look, that Jeff guy that you were looking to hire, we just found out he's just spent a month in a rehab facility for alcohol. So I would not seek help, or I could see myself. That would be something I would do. I would not seek help because I wouldn't want anyone to know,
Sure.
Well, are there protection clause?
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm trying to say, but things that prevent me from being discriminated against because I'm taking care of a problem.
Sure. And what you're describing again is the difference between being caught and asking for help, right? Going to a treatment center, going to a medical detox, a rehab of some sort, whatever that looks like, there is no go on your record, right? That is highly illegal. You cannot that's called HIPAA, HIPAA, HIPAA laws, right? You cannot, nobody can disclose another person's medical conditions or their medical records, and you're not allowed to ask about it at a job interview, right? Have you ever been to a job interview where they say, have you ever had cancer, or do you have diabetes? Do we have to worry about you? No, that's highly illegal. That's discrimination. Same thing plays here. But as a private treatment center owner myself, I'm not allowed to tell Jeff, check this out. If you check into my treatment center tomorrow and your wife calls, she has to be on a release of information. ROI is what that's called, or even your kid or whoever, right? If one of your family members, and I know they're your family member, call and say, hey, how's Jeff doing? The moment you check into my center, I have to say, Jeff who? If their name is not on that sheet, I don't know what you're talking about. Click, got to hang up.
Yeah.
Now, on the other side of that, if you're talking about your job, okay, whenever you take FMLA and use your short-term disability or whatever that is to get off of work, the only people that are allowed to know is the HR department. That is it. They're not allowed to tell your coworkers, your immediate supervisor, your boss, nothing. That is highly illegal. HR can only go out and say, hey, Jeff's going to be on FMLA, Family Medical Leave Act. He's going to be on FMLA and short-term disability for a month or two. We're not sure. We'll let you know when he gets back. That's all they're allowed to do. And as far as going to find a job, I don't want to go get help. I don't want to go to treatment because I'm going to go get a job in a month or so, right? Think about what you're saying. You're shooting heroin or drinking yourself to death, and you think the solution is to keep shooting heroin and drinking yourself to death so you can get a job.
Yeah, I understand
it's delusional,
that,
right?
It's crazy, but I understand that because I don't want to get caught drinking or get found out before I get the job. And I mean, that makes no sense, but it does make sense to me, my mind at that time.
It does. And, I think that's our disease looking to, your disease. Have you ever heard this, Jeff? It's always doing push-ups inside you. It's trying to catch you slipping, right? You said it on a show once before we ever met, before I talked to Tom. You said it on one of your shows that there's something out there that'll get you drunk today. There's something, It's out there somewhere, right? I heard you say that. And your disease is always functioning in that manner, trying to give you reasons why you should not stop, right? I've heard it all. I can't go get off heroin because my family's planning a cruise in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? I got to be at the family cruise. They're going to know I'm not there. I'll have to say, so listen, you're trying to tell me you're going to beat heroin without your wife knowing about it. Or what are you going to do? You're going to smuggle heroin onto the cruise ship on down to Turks and Caicos? No problem. Just carry heroin on the boat. I'm sure the dog won't mind. But our minds come up with that. I can't go to treatment because I'm going to miss my dog. Right? So you're going to keep shooting heroin and doing meth and taking Xanax and drinking alcohol and destroying your family because you don't want to miss your dog. I've heard them all.
I felt it. You're making me sick to my stomach because I have felt those exact same. Well, I don't want Christmas is coming up, and I don't want to cheat my kids out of being home for Christmas. So I'm just going to wait till afterwards to start drinking.
Yeah,
or quit drinking.
Quit drinking. Yeah, we get a lot of that from Thanksgiving to New Year's. January is a very busy month in drug and alcohol addiction treatment. New year, new me, which is fine. Whatever reason you go for, I don't care. But from Thanksgiving to Christmas, we get a lot of that. And I'm constantly on the phone, intervening, talking to people. And a person will tell you, I need to be here for Christmas with my family. They need me. And then they will tell you in the same sentence that they haven't spent Christmas with their family in 5 years because they're out doing dope the whole time. Mm-hmm. And then the delusion will kick in.
This will be different. This year will be different though.
Right. Well, I'm actually going to go be with my family this year because they're going to miss me the entire month that I'm gone to treatment. Think about that statement right there. The entire month, 4 whole weekends.
Yeah. Right.
4 Saturdays. My God, it's a lifetime. Right. And I even get people that are doing a month or 6 weeks of treatment. Can I have visitors? And where can people send letters? And I have to tell them, listen, nobody is going to write you a letter. Nobody even writes letters, snail mail anymore. But the idea that you being gone 30 days is going to garner like prison mail from all your family and friends. And there's going to be 17 people that are just dying to send you a note and hear a response from you. And they don't know how to do it because we don't allow letters, right? That's insanity, right? And that's the nature of the disease. It's called the peculiar mental twist, is how the big book describes it. As many of y'all know, I'm a 12-step recovery person myself. And that's where it's very simple. The peculiar mental phenomenon, or twist as we call it, is where sound reasoning runs parallel to an insane thought. And the insane thought outruns every time. They're running parallel to each other. And the insane thought wins out every time. I can't go to treatment to get off heroin because I need to get a job. You can hear it now. Now, the reason I know all this stuff is because I blew all of this smoke for 15 years, right? All I'm doing, I'm not picking on anyone in the comments or that might be listening, thinking about going to treatment, or that have said this BS themselves. All I'm doing is repeating myself from years ago, from before I got clean.
That's why I'm sick to my stomach, because everything you're saying, I'm feeling. If I didn't do it, I thought of it. It was right there. The other one that into this whole, and I know the answer to this, so I don't even know why I'm saying it, but I don't want to approach my buddy James and say, buddy, you need to quit drinking, because you know what? He's not going to like me anymore. He's not going to be my friend anymore. He's going to be mad at me that I, did this. And okay, I know the answer to that. So you want to sit around Jeff and watch him die and kill himself? Great. Enjoy sleeping with that one for the rest of your life. But, I'm going to give him a break. You know what? If I approach James, it's going to cost him, it'll bring it up in front of his family. Could cause him his marriage, his job, whatever. He's going to be just pissed. And there goes my friendship.
Another classic form of enabling you just described there. I don't want to deal with the conflict because he's going to be pissed, and there goes our friendship. Therefore, I will enable that using and drinking behavior because it makes me feel better. Did you hear what you just said?
Yeah,
I don't want to deal with the argument. I got a simple philosophy, Jeff. I would rather you be mad at me than go to your funeral. Get the F over it.
Yeah.
All right.
I know. No, you're right. Yeah. I'm just saying that those are emotions I could see myself feeling. And you know what? It's not my business. James has got a wife and family, they've got to see this. They're going to tell him, that's not my business. I need to support him, whatever his decision is. And those are they're ludicrous things, but I've thought those in those situations.
Oh, the idea that you have to support someone no matter what their decision is. 100. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That you've had those thoughts. I see that a lot. As a matter of fact, and not to pick on this person, I don't even remember their name, but I saw someone commenting.
Tom Mabe.
Tom Mabe. It's always Tom Mabe. I saw someone commenting in the comments, or made a post in the Sober Talk private group the other day. It says, and nothing against this person, I'm not a tough love person. I think you need to, kind of what you said. I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to support you no matter what. And I just commented politely, I'm the exact opposite. Baby the addict, bury the addict. That's all there is to it. And what I mean by that is I have people that I know right now personally that are out there using, right? You're more than welcome to call me. You're more than welcome to reach out to me. But guess what? We're not going to have coffee. We're not going to sit around and talk buddy. The only conversation we're having is about you going to detox. Other than that, don't call me. You see, remember the leverage we were talking about earlier? Excuse me. Sorry, guys. The leverage we were talking about earlier, that friendship, our friendship is my leverage. I will take our friendship away from you unless you go get help. You have to kind of flip it on its ear and stop worrying about losing the friendship. You're the one that controls that. Then you have to tell them, you're not going to come to my house and hang out.
Yeah. And that's, you're right. I was fortunate with my wife and kids. I tried, I think, but they didn't give me the ultimatum in direct words, but they gave me the ultimatum. It was like, you know what? We're done. If you want to continue, you want to lie to us, you want to do this, that's fine, but I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to put the kids through it. And I don't blame her one bit. I'm not going to, you want to ruin your own life. That's fine. But don't be around here taking us with you, because it's not fair to the kids. It's not fair. So there was the tough love that I need, would I have gone in the next day? I probably not. If I was given, you know what, Jeff, I want you to really try, try through the next, at least, through January, do your best not to drink as much. Green light. Give me $200 and pass go. That was what I wanted to hear. I'll try. Yeah. No intention.
Someone has pinned a comment. I guess that's Carrie, and they're pinning a comment right now from Carl. Hey, ask, what is the percentage of relapse rate for those that get into your facility? Do you follow up months later to find out how your customer is doing? First of all, it's not a customer. It's not how that works at all, but I understand the question. What is the percentage of relapse rate for those that get into your facility? Here's the thing. Any person that tells you they have an answer to that question is lying to you. All right. I have seen facilities out here boasting 75%, 90% success rates. Let me tell you about this. In the drug and alcohol addiction community, outcome data is one of the most sought after things right now. It's what I look for. It's what our facilities look for. Every center, and insurance companies, pharmaceutical companies, any kind of drug treatment entity are all looking for your outcome data and how can you produce it. Here's the problem with outcome data. It is self-reported by the end user, by the addict, right? So I could call somebody tomorrow, Jeff, and to answer this person's question, I'm sorry, the comment's gone now, and there's another great comment down there from Beth. I'll get to that one in a second. He said, do you follow up? Yes, we have alumni directors at all of our facilities, and I'll tell you how we do that.
Really?
We have alumni directors, and if you complete, well, even if you don't complete, our alumni will still reach out. But basically what they do is whenever you leave the facility, your last day, they will call you once a day for a week after that. Then they will scale back to 3 times a week, then twice a week, then they'll call you once a week. And we want to see this consistent phone call going on. We have private Facebook groups for our alumni, kind of like Sober Talk. The private Sober Talk group.
Yep.
We have our own that only our alumni can get into, that we only add alumni to it. So that protects their anonymity. And we pay attention, and we also have telehealth after. They can check in with their therapist via their phone. Just pull up, you click on the button, you schedule an appointment, boom, your therapist pops up on the phone. So we do everything we can to stay in touch with our alumni through our alumni directors. And it's a very simple thing. If I tell you and you sign a deal with me, Jeff, that I'm going to call you once a day for the next week and you get to pick the time. You say, call me at 3:00 when I get off work every day for the next week. Okay. If you don't answer the phone at 3:00 and you're not responding to a text message, that's a red alert, right? That's where you're going to get multiple phone calls from the facility. And if you put someone on your release of information, like your wife, your daughter, and they said, hey, let me know how Jeff's doing, I will call them and say, Jeff didn't make his 3:00 call. He has not shown up in our group for our Zoom meeting or our therapy session. Where is Jeff? Right? We do that to the best of our ability. Now,
yeah, that's great.
Yeah, with that in mind, though, some people, Jeff, they will turn around and call us and say, "Hey, take my wife and kids off of my release of information," and then I can't do nothing. Now, I can blow your phone up, call you, and harass you all I want, but I can't call the person that was on release of information, the family member that I had been working with.
Right.
So there's ways for people to get around it. Now, as far as the outcome data, think about this. Whenever you're talking about success rates, what is success, Jeff? It's self-defined. It's different for everybody, right? Think about this. If you're drinking a fifth of alcohol a day, and we bring you into detox, you stay with us for 2 months, we get you off of it, you're standing on your own 2 feet and you leave, and then you start drinking a pint every day after you leave. Is that success? Well, to the alcoholic, or somebody might say, yeah, I went from a fifth to a pint a day. That's success. So they can self-report themselves as highly successful, right? To us, that is a full-blown relapse and you're killing yourself. That is not success. Do you see our outcome data? Yeah.
I might be able to muscle it and use every bit of strength to moderate like that for a very short time. There's no way in hell that for Jeff that would ever work. That would be until I did until I dropped below 100% strength of every ounce of strength I had. As soon as I got weak for a day, I'd lose that fight.
Yeah. So what if somebody was blowing their whole paychecks and doing cocaine from Friday when they got paid till Monday every weekend, right? And then you call them to check on them, or you know something about them, or as an alumni or whatever. They say, well, I've only done cocaine once in the last month and blown my whole paycheck. Is that success? Did we make it up?
Right? I'm not gonna flush them down the toilet on that. I'm gonna say that you've had successful times.
I'm going to say you've had a full backpedal relapse and you went out and did your drug of choice again and blew your whole paycheck and put your life in your family.
I see. Yeah. No. So, yeah. I'll give you that.
But you understand. So you have a different definition of what success may be than I. And even someone's mother might look at it and say, well, yeah, I know he was drinking and doing cocaine, but now he only smokes weed every day. Is that success? I don't know. And marijuana is illegal in Kentucky. You're going to get arrested, get pulled over, get a DUI for marijuana, and go to jail for a while. Are you doing successful things right now? Some, but is that success? So to answer the gentleman, that was an excellent question. The gentleman's name is Carl, I believe. It's gone right now. Excellent question. But
you know, the one thing also that, and this is, I heard this I even wrote about this, just a little thing on blurb on Sober Talk Live on the group page. But I heard someone talking about different programs, and I James, I came from an AA background. I don't know what your recovery was or program was, but that worked for me. And like I said, find what works for you and go for that. Just search is my only advice for the program that fits you. But I've heard people say, I tried AA, but it didn't work. I tried that, but it didn't work. Well, you know what? I can pick on Tom for his exercise bike that he was on the other day. Buying it and putting it in the corner of your house doesn't do crap for getting me in shape unless I get on it and I do the work. It's a tool that it doesn't work for me. That bike, I don't get thin and in shape because I bought it and set it in the house. Correct. I've got to do the work. It's an instrument to help me be more effective and more successful, but there's nothing out there that does the work. So to say that, this program is successful or this one's got a higher percentage, I don't see the programs having percentages. I think the percentage is based upon the individual doing the work that the program prescribes.
That's it. Right. But again, it's self-reported, right? So I can call somebody, we can check on them a year later. They can completely lie to me. Oh yeah, I'm doing great. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. And okay, do we check that down as 100% success and just trust what they said? Or do we really know? So, and Carl, I wasn't, he said, my apologies. What do you call them? So I will know in the future. We call them alumni, patients, or friends. These are our friends. I love my clients, man. Our patients that have come through there, some of these kids, it doesn't matter.
You don't call them quitters?
No, not at all.
Okay.
These are a lot of people give us a bad rap for being in private treatment or whatever, but these people are amazing. I love it when you see a 19-year-old get it together. And I got friends right now that have never had a legal drink. Think about that. They're 23 years old and have never drank legally in their life because they've been sober since they were under the age of 21, right? That's amazing. I know a doctor who is probably 25 years sober right now, and he's never had a legal drink, got sober at age 17. And so I want to address, Carl, friends, alumni, patients, whatever. And no offense taken, by the way, Carl. I appreciate the question. Beth Gomez says, does the disease ever, go away? Does the disease ever go away? What do you think, Jeff?
My answer to that, the simple one I think of is a food allergy. I can avoid getting, eating eggs or dairy or whatever that my system breaks out. I can avoid the results of the disease by not eating dairy or eggs or whatever. But 40 years from now, I decide to go out and eat some eggs. I'm going to flare up. So I don't think it ever does. I think it might be something I can monitor, but that's never, I've never heard, talking to people, I've never heard of anyone that has ever gone back to being able to drink normally. I think the answer is a clear-cut no, in my opinion.
I agree. And yeah, you can't smoke crack like a gentleman. That just never works out. I tried it several times. Now, she's asking a very, again, an in-depth question here. Does the disease ever go away? Some people don't believe it's a disease. I don't care. Who cares what anybody thinks? I particularly do believe that. I know it is. Even though some people might have a drinking problem or find themselves addicted to pills that don't suffer from the disease. There's some people that are like, I got one DUI and I quit drinking. That's it. I'm done. Or they blacked out one time and they said, I can't have that stuff no more. Okay, maybe that person doesn't have the disease, right? Or the person that got injured and they started taking painkillers for that injury and they found themselves addicted to them. And they're like, man, when I stop taking them, I get sick. My mother did that. She had an operation, took pain pills for a week. She called me 2 days after she stopped and said, I'm sweating. I feel like I have the flu. What's going on? I said, Mom, you're dope sick. She's like, I'm never taking another one of those again. I was like, Mom, break one in half, take it right now, then don't, and it'll ease it. Then don't take more. She's like, no, I'm not even taking half. I'm riding this out and I'm never touching them again. Okay. They don't suffer from the disease, right?
Right.
But I have this disease and we got to think about, what does disease actually mean? Disease is a disorder of function in a plant or an animal. I have this disorder of function and I'm a 12-step recovery guy, which says to me, I have low dopamine. An easy way to remember this, Beth, I have low dopamine in my brain. I'm a quart low is how I remind myself. Dopamine is the feel-good fluid that drives people, right? Jeff, you know the type. They wake up in the morning, they whistle all the way to the coffee pot. Good morning.
They piss me off. I hate them.
Yeah. Okay. See, you have low dopamine, right? You're just like me. I've been social distancing since 1998. Okay. I don't like people around me. Don't get too close, especially in the morning. I need nicotine. I need coffee. I need a number of things. And everybody, please shut up. Right. That's me.
Yeah.
I have this low dopamine factor. Other people, dopamine, they go through their life. Somebody tells a stupid joke. They laugh. They just naturally happy, which is awesome for them. Right. I'm not. I'm what the book describes as restless, irritable, and discontented by nature because I'm a quart low on this positive feel-good fluid in my brain. Now, here's something interesting to know. If you feel like Jeff and I do, where you have this low dopamine factor, the disease, and it causes you this level of depression, to be restless, irritable, and discontent, did you know that all drugs of reward spike dopamine? Okay. Alcohol, heroin, meth, painkillers, cocaine, crack. Did I say meth? Yeah, I think I have. You get what I'm saying? All of them do one thing. They spike dopamine in the reward center of the brain. We drink purely for the effect produced by, or we drink and use purely for the effect produced by these substances, right? I didn't particularly like the smell of cocaine. That's not why I did it so much. I didn't particularly like the flavor of alcohol. I got used to it. I got used to the taste of bourbon. I got used to the taste of tequila. Why? Because my brain registers that smell and that taste as success, right? Think about it. Did anybody just love the taste of their first shot of hard liquor? And like, wonderful. Like you're drinking a daiquiri or something?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. Now people will swear, no, I love the taste of it. Do you? Would you drink non-alcoholic bourbon? There's a reason
Yeah,
why.
great. Yeah, no, that's a great point.
Would you drink? Yeah, there's something that burns your throat and tasted that way. Straight. Would you drink it if with your Sunday lunch, if it wasn't going to give you a buzz? And then people pause. They go, wait a minute. What that is, it's your brain recognizes that smell and that flavor as a dopamine delivery that's going to relieve you from this restless, irritable, and discontent state of depression. That when you wake up in the morning, Jeff, and the people are whistling all the way to the coffee pot, and I'm chocked full of resentment, I'm pissed off, I don't want anybody near me, and I have to go to work, and my boss is an ass, and I can't stand him, and I have to go home and listen to the wife complain, and the kids are always acting up. Okay, take a drink. What happens?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, what's the first thing? Think about this. You ever heard somebody pop a beer or just take one drink, and what do? Right? I drink for that sense of relief.
You know what? You nailed a good point, because there's no way that the first sip of beer when I drink it, there's no way that enters my system within 3 seconds. But when I take that first sip of beer, I can just feel everything drop and just relax. It's still just going down my throat at that point. It has not gotten into my system. At least I don't think that quick. But I can just, cracking the beer, smelling the beer. The first sip, I feel everything. Boom. And it pisses me off that it feels that good.
Yeah. Right. So let's talk about we're getting into now causes and conditions, right? What causes this? Low dopamine can be caused genetically. You can be born with it. About 40% of people, sometimes I get these numbers backwards. About 40% of people are born with this genetic deficiency. There's 23 chromosomes 46 chromosomes in 23 pair in the human DNA that determine your eye color, your skin color. Are you going to be male or female? How tall are you going to be? Right now, you can imagine sometimes that DNA strand, Jeff, when it spins off, there's mistakes made. Nature is not perfect, right? Like some people are born deaf, some people are born blind, with different characteristics. It's not a perfect system, right? Well, one of those things that can happen when it spins out is it can determine you to be low on dopamine. Your body doesn't produce enough.
But why did it not hit me that when I was in my 20s or 30s when because I do believe alcoholism is progressive. It sure was with me. Sure. So why if I was born that way, why was it not that way from the very start, or was it? And I just accelerated it.
Think about it. All right. So I can't guarantee you can determine, did you feel this way as a child? I hated school. I didn't like other people. I didn't like rules at all. Right. Excellent question. And what I'm, at least for me, I can give you my experience. It says over any considerable period, this is from the Big Book, over any considerable period, we get worse, never better. As you're putting this stuff into you, what happens? The consequences of your drinking and your using whatever it is begin to grow over time, right? At 20 years old, if you go out and drink till you're pissed drunk and black out 3 nights in a row and pass out in your buddy's couch, nobody cares, right? Now, shooting heroin, it's a little bit different, but think about it. At 20 years old, is that just what a college kid does or what a 20-year-old does? Doesn't everybody say that? Oh, Jeff drank too much. Jeff, he's a party animal. It's socially accepted, right? Jeff, the party animal every weekend, dude, he goes from, it's almost a badge of honor. Like dude will start on Friday.
I wanted to get that way. I wanted to be, I was proud of myself if I could get just, totaled.
And exactly. And isn't that socially accepted and this, and then, as the years go by, the drinking increases and we start losing things, right? I don't know about you. I lost everything, but as it progresses, I started getting DUIs. I started not having money to pay the electricity because I was spending it on alcohol or spending it on cocaine or whatever, right? And then mom would come along and bail me out. Remember the classic enabling we were talking about earlier?
Yeah.
Or somebody would come along and pay my electric bill for me. And then I'm progressing into my illness, continuing to spend and drink more and more. I mean, I'm assuming you, Jeff, like none of us came here on a winning streak, right? None of us landed in sober talk or in the 12-step recovery community or in treatment on a winning streak. Like, hey, life's great. I think I'll just go to detox today. No, over any considerable period, we get worse, never better. And I think it comes with the consequences increasing. Like DUI number 1, they're like, Jeff, better not be doing that no more, buddy. You can lose your license. DUI number 5, you're probably looking at prison time.
Yep.
So, and then to your question, how come we didn't know this at 20? I mean, my God, who wants to? I wasn't looking for an answer.
As far as the disease going away, I went, probably 15 years ago, I went almost 10 years. I quit drinking because on my own. And I actually, there was a program called a book/program called Rational Recovery. it worked. I was able to stop drinking for 9.5 years. Looking back, I was pretty unhappy during those 9.5 years. The things that caused me to drink, I was fighting through, but looking back, I did not handle stress well. I was irritable, pissed off, discontent, didn't sleep, worried incessantly about tomorrow, regretted what happened yesterday, didn't even enjoy today. I've told people this, that I hated Sundays. I couldn't even enjoy Sunday, which is the weekend, because all I was thinking was, son of a bitch, tomorrow morning is Monday and I got to get up and go see that SOB and go deal with those customers that I can't stand dealing with. I didn't even enjoy my Sundays because Monday was coming. I couldn't live in today.
Yeah, but, man, the anxiety of the stuff you don't want to do coming next week.
Yeah.
Particularly in males, that there's a study out. I learned this from Les Brown. Most heart attacks in males happening at 7 a.m. on Monday morning. A majority of
I believe it,
because I dreaded anxiety and stress of going back to a job they hate, a life they don't like, and then of course for us, the excessive alcohol use over the weekend to cover it up. Then you have to come back. So something, and I forget the exact number, but an astronomical number of heart attacks happen in males on Monday morning at like 7 a.m.
I believe it, and so I went James 9.5 years, and I actually thought, you know what, I probably don't have a problem with alcohol, and I think I'm good, and I'm going to go back and just, drink normally. I remember that first night I had a beer and it was great. And I was there. The next night I had 3, and I think the third night I picked up a case, and I was right back to where I was in no time. And it if not more. And I can tell you, because once I started again, I think it was about 3.5 years until I finally went into rehab. A year in November of 19, a little over a year ago. It was those 3 years when I came back were so much heavier drinking than I did before I had quit. There was no go back and rebuild slowly to be drinking the large amounts. I was there like that, right back, and I was probably a good deal accelerated even more.
See, that's why I'm such a believer in the big book. I already said that sentence. Over any considerable period, we get worse, never better. And you just described it. And I want to point out, Joanne in the comments said, James has a great video about the dopamine effect on his page. I do. I have a graph on there. And it's also on my YouTube channel at James Sweasy Live. It's all free. I don't even run ads in the middle of my videos. You go over. And
what is the site? You broke up for a second. What's the YouTube site?
Oh, YouTube. It's at James Sweasy Live. I'll comment in the, it's Joanne's tagged me in the comments. It's my name with the word live after it. I can put it in the comments after the show.
Yeah, do, and we'll make sure it's up on the.
I'll put the dopamine graph in there for you guys. So
like I said, I'm in this to get as many resources, as many tools as possible. Sure. I'm never going to sit on my laurels, because it's not a matter of if it's going to hit the fan. It's a matter of when. And I have to be ready for it. And you know what? We're talking about there's a big analogy. You take a piece of paper and fold it in half, and you write on one side of the paper the reasons you want to drink, and on the right side, the reasons that you shouldn't drink. The good that comes from drinking, the bad that comes from drinking. Good side is buzz, relaxation, all that. The negatives, all those things. I swear, when I do that, the side with the good notes, and maybe you can fill me in on why this happens. Those are in a dark Sharpie permanent marker. And the reasons that I fill down, I can spend a day writing all the reasons not to drink. And I swear I write those in invisible ink, because by tomorrow I've got a sheet of paper that one side has all the reasons to drink, and I can read nothing from the right side, or remember nothing from the right side. And I'd heard that was called euphoric recall. And that is this would be so much easier for me if I could switch those things. If all I remembered was the crap that comes about with drinking, but remembering the crap is so hard to do. And that's why when I can remember it, I write it down. I always say that I paint it in colors, the picture of the bad stuff. I want it as clear a memory with as much detail as I can come across so that I have a better chance of remembering it when that desire to drink or that choice of to drink or not drink comes around, because all I remember is, oh man, that would be great. That would be so much fun. I'm going to watch the, March Madness is coming up, and all I think about is the good times we had doing that at a bar, and the crap is hard to remember.
So think about this, that what you're describing is the honeymoon period is what we call it, right? I remember the good times. I'm addicted to the lifestyle, man. The crack of beer with friends, the toasting at New Year's, the parties, the this and that. That's called a resentment, as it describes in the big book. The number one offender. I resent not being able to have that anymore. And think about what you just said too, right? Who wants to wake up low on dopamine, restless, irritable, discontent already, and remember a bunch of crap, right? That's not how I'm programmed. I'm programmed. I feel that way when I wake up. What's the solution we found, Jeff, to cover up all that crap? Drink more.
Drink more.
Spike the dopamine, and I don't have to think about all the crap that it caused. That's why they describe it as a vicious cycle, right? We don't want to wake up low on dopamine and go through our day going, you know what? I was a real jerk last weekend, and I probably shouldn't do that again. No. We're going to remember, hey, that girl I saw at the nightclub, she's probably going to be there again. The food was awesome, and I'm going to call my buddies, Tom and Chev, and say, hey, dude, are we going back up to that place again? Or what? I want to find that blonde that we were talking to the other night. See, I'm going to remember all that, and I'm going to chase what? The dopamine spike.
Yeah. Right? It was in the, when people, and I'm going to make fun of you, people that exercise all the time, but I go out and I run 10 miles and I get a total dopamine, but no, I don't want to go out. That's hard. I want to sit on the couch. I want to pop a dopamine pill, but make it a good for you, non-addictive pill that comes shaped like Fred Flintstone. I don't want to do the hard work for it. I want the easy answer. And this summer, I remember doing great in my program, and I was doing yard work and I had to run up to the Lowe's or Home Depot or something. And I got in the truck and I just got this, I've been working my butt off all afternoon. Where is it? Where's the, because I deserve it. I've been working hard and I'm ready for I felt my hand curl into the, the position to hold a can or a bottle. And it went away. Luckily it went away quick, much quicker. I didn't have to fight it, or it wasn't a huge battle, but I kind of laughed about it and got pissed at the same time, because I was in a good mood. I was having a great day. I got a lot of work done. It was a sunny day, and yet my butt hit that truck seat, and it was like, where I deserve the relief.
Now you're getting back to a question that Beth asked. That Beth is asking, and people are discussing in the comments right now, is there a way to correct the low dopamine in the brain, right? I wish, but there's what we talk about in the book and what you're talking about, Jeff. What we really have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. That's what it says, a daily reprieve. That means I have to get up. I have to work my 12-step recovery program, call my sponsor, and work my steps, right? Think about this. You want to know the best way to spike dopamine. Okay, diet, exercise, what Jeff was talking about. Nobody wants to. I do every day. I get up and I hit my treadmill. I feel great. I get the blood flowing. I drink. Yeah, I love it, man. And look, I don't feel right. If you do it just a 10-minute medium-paced walk on your treadmill every day for 90 days, you'll develop a habit, and you'll get mad at yourself when you don't do it moving forward. You'll be like, You'll not do it one morning, and you'll feel sluggish at lunchtime, and you'll be like, I didn't do my treadmill this morning. I'm never missing it again. And you'll feel the difference. But here's the real hit. This is why the 12 steps were designed this way. The 12 step, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and practice these principles in all of our affairs. What did that say right there? Carry the message. We're doing it right now. Okay. Think about this. Helping another person produces a dose of dopamine naturally. Oh. And I ask anybody on here, have you ever bought someone a pair of shoes that couldn't afford it? Or have you ever bought someone a meal, Jeff, that couldn't afford food? Right?
Yeah.
Have you ever how did you feel right after that?
Great.
That was huge. Dopamine. that was dopamine, right? So through diet, exercise, changing our bad behaviors, not waking up with all these resentments of all the crap we did yesterday or last week and all that stuff you were talking about. We don't wake up with that stuff anymore. So diet, exercise, changing our behaviors, taking care of our responsibilities, helping another addict or an alcoholic are all natural ways to get smaller dopamine spikes along the way so we can manage. Is there a magic pill or a magic fix where you're going to do it and all of a sudden you don't have the disease of addiction no more? No.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's life. It is what it is. Tom has a full head of hair and you and I are follically challenged.
Yeah.
You know, it's it is what it is. So, well, look, we are almost go ahead.
YouTube link. I did post the YouTube link in there and it looks like Carrie has pinned it. It's James Sweasy Live is my Facebook page. I post regular recovery content there, just kind of my little daily vlog or whatever. And then my YouTube channel link is there. That is the link to the dopamine graph. So if you would like to see my interpretation, it doesn't come from the big book or anything. Well, the information comes from the big book. The way I drew it and all that is my interpretation of how it's a very simple chart of how a normal brain functions and how my brain functions. Maybe you're like me and have low dopamine, and that chart will help you understand.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. It explains a lot. I just want to make sure that we have and it might not be there 20 minutes after the show, but that we get on the site. I want as many resources as we can get for people, including myself. You know, I'm always looking to learn new stuff, read new stuff, get new ideas to help me. I can't get stagnant in my recovery. It's enjoyable. And like you said, you know, I don't think Tom's paying either of us. I know he's not paying me to do this show right now, but it is a dopamine working with people like yourself. I'd rather get on here talking to Caddy about his monologies. I love you, Caddy.
I saw the video. You know, monology was a new word to me, and I'm always looking for new stuff. And it made perfect sense. The monology or whatever it was.
Yep.
I saw that. It was a monkey monology.
Oh yeah, barrel of monkeys, and we're going to have the analogy of the week. That should be in the resources, but I want to make sure that we get all that in. And again, you guys fill up the group page with ideas. So we got to pick and choose and find what works for us. But thanks for putting up with the video audio issue. No, go ahead, James. You got something?
I want to post one thing.
Yeah.
Carl said in the comments, pop B12 and some kratom. Kratom is highly addictive. And I have people in my medical detox right now shitting down both legs, saying, I didn't know kratom would do this to me. Be very careful what you're reading and what you believe just because they sell it at a store.
Yeah, that's legal, isn't it?
It is. And I don't think it will be for much longer. But they sell tequila at a store. It doesn't mean it's okay for me to put it in my body. And I'm not telling anybody else what to do. I'm saying being very careful. I have grown adults and they're saying, hey, I started taking this vitamin or whatever it was, kratom, and they are violently dope sick in my detox right now, cussing kratom up and down. So just be very careful with that, Carl. I appreciate your input as always. I appreciate the questions tonight, but I am not a fan of that. I have to go ahead and put that out there.
Well, thanks so much. And the good news is we're figuring out the bugs so we can do some video screens and get people so you can see who's talking. And that's going to be everyone, callers as well as guests. So we're getting the bugs, but this was a last minute, everything kind of fell apart. So thanks for bearing with us. And James, thanks for coming on. I know you're going to be on a lot with Tom, and hopefully we'll all be together a couple of times, but man, I could listen to you talk all night. We got bad analogy, but tap that keg of knowledge you have, because there's some good stuff in there that I know I need to hear. So thanks.
Somebody passed it to me, and you have to carry the message as it says in the 12 step.
I still want to hear. I still want to hear. I know my experience of going through rehab, but another time with you, I'd love to get on just of what happens when you go into rehab. What can you expect? Because there's a lot of, I was scared to death. I didn't know. I still waited for those guys to come out with wrap me in the jacket and a straight jacket. So I didn't know. And there's a lot of people that might be hesitant because of those fears. And I want to bring all that out as well. So let's get back and deal with that another time.
Yeah, it would be great. I can explain next time we talk. I can explain the medical detox process, how we actually use, in many cases, narcotic medicine. You have to get someone off of alcohol, or use some other type of narcotic medicine to get someone off of heroin or painkillers or whatever they're using. And then you slowly remove the narcotic and introduce non-narcotic comfort medication with exercise, proper diet, proper group therapy, things of that nature. And you slowly walk them off. So the whole purpose of my medical detox is you don't have to get sick to go through the process. Happy
and
to
that
talk
was
about
what
it next time.
That's one of the reasons I went in, because I was scared to death of that. I'm a hypochondriac as it is, and I started reading about all the DTs and all the horror stories, and it allowed me to just feel comfortable and feel safe when I was coming down and getting clean. And it was much easier to know that, the food wasn't the greatest at the place I went to, but that's not why I was there, but I was comfortable and good people around, and coming up on a year, it worked for me.
Congratulations. So, well, when you get to the year, let's do a show together. Let's talk about it. And talk. So, your first year is about taking care of yourself. Your second year is about the next person. You get to really start thumping that 12th step really hard and bring it like you're already doing it. Don't get me wrong. The first year is about you. The next year is about somebody else. So I got
2 more weeks of me.
That's right. And
then we'll worry about, no, remember, that's great.
The biggest natural dopamine spike comes from helping another person. So year 2 is about that next person. And what do you really get out of it? You get to keep your own sobriety. Keep it unless you give it away, Jeff.
Thanks, buddy. You're fantastic. Great stuff. We need to just keep hear it some more. So, all right, I'm going to hit the music. I don't know if you guys can hear it. And James is going to go ahead and sing. He wrote a special rendition based about for Tom. So he's going to vocalize, and we'll see you guys. Tom will be back on Monday. I don't know if he's doing anything this weekend, but if he does, that'll post up. I think he's doing his stand up again tomorrow.
Yeah, so I'm going to see him tomorrow.
Are you really?
I'll be at his show tomorrow. Yeah.
There's a chance I am supposed to do with the kid. What time are you? Is it 2?
I'm doing the 7:15 p.m. show. We got a babysitter going out to dinner. Before, you're welcome to join my better half, Elena, and I for dinner if you like, and then we're heading up to the show. Okay, sounds great. Well, I'll check with you. I got to see, but that would be fantastic. All right, everyone, have a great weekend. We'll see you. Thanks again, James. I'm supposed to sing now?
Yeah, just here you go. 1, 2.
99 bottles of beer. Oh, I'm sorry.
My voice peels paint, so I'm not going to do it.